Yep, so it's another video and it's another Spectrum repair, and I've got myself another Grey Plus 2. I did try to acquire a Grey Plus 2 earlier, and it turned out to be a Plus 2A, which was a whole series of videos, but we won't go into that now. Yes, I bought it, spares a repair, and apparently this one does need repair. The seller was saying when they've powered it up, they're getting some strange patterns on the screen, and it's not really doing anything else, so I thought, you know what, that could make an interesting little project, so I snagged it. Yeah. Condition wise, cosmetically, it's pretty good. There's a little bit of a crack in the Perspex cover for the tape deck, but that's fine. It's just very, very dirty, and I mean very, very dirty. You're not going to see it on the camera, but maybe I'll do some close-up shots later and you'll see what I'm talking about. But yeah, it seems to be complete. All the keys are there. The keys feel a little bit stiff, so that's probably down to the dirt and grime that's under there. I'm not going to worry about that now. Tape deck's there, and well, I don't know if it works or not, but mechanically all the buttons seem to work, although they're a little bit stiff, so might need some lubrication. But there's no, apart from that crack, there's no real scratches or cracks or anything in it. It's in pretty nice condition. It's missing a foot there, but that's okay. Yeah, so I've been told it doesn't work, but I haven't tried it yet. I thought we'll do that together and we'll just see what we get. So I thought, let's throw power to it on camera and see what happens. Right, so I'm plugged into the RGB socket on the TV. I've got a power lead in. Let's just plug it in and let's just see what it does, if indeed it does anything, which it probably won't. I've got a power light, and oh yeah, okay. Yep, let me just focus. Well, they weren't kidding, were they? No, that's not well. That's got issues, but that's fine. I was told about that by the seller. That's not a problem at all. Yeah, let the investigations commence, I suppose. Well, I've got power. Let's just see. Does the tape deck work? Probably want belts, but well, that's turning. That is running. It's a little noisy and it's a little slow, but it probably wants a service and it will definitely need a belt. That's encouraging. Anyway, enough of that. Let's deal with that. So I've got this, which is my Spectrum Diagnostic cartridge, and I've just configured it to load the 128K Diagnostic ROM. So let's see if we can get that in and see if that sheds any light on things. It's kind of looking like a RAM fault, but who knows. Let me just put power to it again. Let's see what we get this time. And oh, yeah, okay, so it is running the test. If that'll focus. There we go. Let's see what that's come back with. So RAM bank 1 is faulty, 0 is faulty, 1 is okay, 5 is okay, 2 is faulty. Seems to go through it quick enough, doesn't it? Let's just see what we get with when it finishes.
6 is faulty, okay.
RAM banking errors exist. Yeah, no kidding. Okay, so it's saying 0, 2, 4 and 6 are faulty. Now that's weird. I mean, it could be a lot of RAM chips that have failed, I don't know, but it just seems a bit odd to me that. And it seems odd that it's every other bank as well. And I know with the 128 that the memory is split between contended and non-contended memory, and I think they're odd numbers as well. So I think 0, 2, 4 and 6, I think that's the non-contended memory. I don't know. I better read up on that. I'm not an expert. I'm just a hobbyist. Please try to remember that I am not Jan Beta or anything like that. I'm just, a hobbyist trying to figure this stuff out. But that to me doesn't seem like a load of faulty RAM chips. That I'm thinking that maybe I've got 1 or 2 faulty chips that are messing up the address lines, and that's why one bank is okay. The contended memory is okay, but the uncontended memory isn't. Or it could be a logic chip. that's causing the problem, and the RAM itself could be fine. I don't know. I can't imagine that I've got a whole load of faulty memory chips. Well, who knows? I don't know. I think what we'll need to do is we'll need to... let's take the case apart and let's have a look inside, shall we? Four very short screws. Let's see if I can get this to zoom in, and then one very long one. That seems kind of wrong to me, that. So I think I might be sourcing some new screws for this, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. I mean, it might not, it may never work again yet, so who knows. Okay. Alright, let's see what we can do. So that should be free. And yep. Nope, something. Oh, hang on. There might be a screw in there. Actually, it might be let's have a grip. Yes, indeed, there is. Ah, so there's two long screws, and some short ones. Okay, that's weird. Right, where all the screws are there. I'll have to compare this with my other grade plus 2 to see what the screws should look like. I'm sure that's not right. Let me just unplug the tape deck and disconnect the keyboard, and then we can just get rid of this whole top layer. Lovely. Well, I'm not the first person in here, so you probably see one of the RAM chips has been removed and socketed, and so is one of the logic chips as well. So somebody else has had a little go at fixing this before me. So okay, it's not something I like to see really, but because what I'm going to need to do now, I mean, I'll pull those two chips that have been socketed. I can test them, I suppose. And then I kind of want to pull the socket up as well, because you just don't know what's happened under there if somebody's been pulling chips and they've not done it properly, especially on these Amstrad boards, because they're incredibly fragile. Could be traces pulled and what have you. So I think before I go pull any other chips and start testing the RAM, let's have a little look at the repair that's already been attempted and make sure that nothing's been screwed up. Otherwise I'll just end up chasing my own tail. Let's get this out of here. So I'll tell you what, let's take the regulator and heatsink out first. That's been in for a while, that was stuck. And let's just get the board out. That should be all of them, and that should lift out. Yeah, it does. Okay, let's have a look underneath it. So what are we looking at? The worst job I've ever seen soldering, if that's visible. This one here. Let me just have a look at it under some magnification, and I'll see if I can see if anything's been pulled maybe. The best thing to do is probably to pull the socket right off, but let me just have a little look first, see if it might not be necessary, I don't know. I've had a little look underneath and it's a little bit sloppy, the soldering, and I don't mean to be rude to the previous person who tried to repair it by saying that, because you know what, you don't know what equipment they were using or how much experience they've had. You know what, somebody's had a go at fixing it, so fair play to them, but there's a couple of things I'm seeing that I don't like. Now, the soldering on the socket for the RAM chip is a little bit iffy, but what my real concern is with the logic chip, it looks like it might be actually bridging some connections that it shouldn't be. Quite possibly, it's a little bit slapdash, so I think I'm just going to pull that right out, both these sockets, and we'll have a look at the board underneath, and hopefully, if everything's okay, I can just put some new sockets in. Test these chips and then we'll be good, but I don't want to leave it as it is. It might be part of the problem, so let's eliminate that first. Just waiting for my tool to warm up, my matron. Let's just get the chips out of the holder first. So, aha. Okay, already I'm seeing a problem with that socket, so let me just zoom in. Let's see if I can get that in the shot. If I could focus, that would be really good. You see it? Straight away, it looks like that that socket's actually faulty. So that won't be helping. I don't know if that's broken off completely or what. Let me get me big old man glasses on and just have a little look. Okay, so I've just spotted. If it'll focus, that would be great. Yeah, you can see, I think that's just broken now as I've pulled the chip out. So you can actually see the contacts right there, underneath, right in the middle there. So it's, I mean, it might not have just fallen out, it might have fallen out earlier, I don't know. But that socket is junk, and that could be part of the problem. So let me just get rid of that metal flake, and then we're going to take the take that socket right out and fit a new one. See if that improves things. In fact, I think my tool's warmed up, so let's do that. Now I've pulled it, and I think it's okay. I'm just going to test it with a multimeter, so I'll zip around it and make sure it's alright. Clean it up with a bit of IPA. Hopefully everything's making connections where it should be, but yeah, I'll test that now, and then we'll get a new socket in it, I think. So you know what, just let me give it a little squirt with IPA first, and just a little clean up, just so I can see what I'm doing a bit better. Right, I'm just going to go over it and test it with a multimeter. I'll do that quickly off camera because I'm going to be leaning right over it, and you're just going to have a video in the back of my head, which nobody needs to see, so yeah, bring you back in a second. Well, thankfully everything checks out on the meter, so let's get a new socket in, shall we? So I've got some nice turn pin ones. Should work a little bit better. Let me get those in. You know what, while I'm here, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to pull that logic chip as well, because that's the one I'm actually really concerned about. I don't like the look of it at all. So let's. Oh, that socket was terrible. It's barely gripped the chip at all. There we go, new chip sockets in. So I think what we'll do is we'll test those chips before they go back in. Let's do some chip testing, and I'm going to start with the RAM chip, I think, because that was the first tester I grabbed off the shelf, and it is a 4164. So let's throw it in and just see what we get. And so the person who commented on my videos that I was using the chip tester incorrectly, yeah, in one of my videos you're absolutely correct, I was doing that because I had the latch the wrong way when I was trying to test the chips, and I was wondering why I wasn't getting a good connection, but hey, thanks for pointing that out. I will try to do better going forward. Ta-da! This might just take a few seconds, so I'll probably skip the video ahead. We'll get the results. Okay, it's a pass. Lovely. There's nothing wrong with that chip. Well, according to the tester anyway, who knows, but perfect. Let's do the logic chip, and we'll see if we find a fault there. Right, what is this exactly? Because I'm going to need my old man glasses here to figure it out. The writing on it's quite worn down, so if I catch it in the light, I might be able to read it. It is a 74LS157, so let's do that. 157. So we've got the chip in. And if I will focus, probably not. Hmm. 157. test. Okay, nothing wrong with that. I don't know if I'm happy or not about that, but hey. Well, that's the chips back in the board, so I don't think this is going to fix the problem, because clearly it's had a fault, somebody's got in to repair it and done this, and I've just tidied up the previous repair attempt, so I'd be very surprised if this fixes the problem, but I'm going to power it up anyway and just see if the screen's changed at all, because that was definitely a faulty socket, and that one was extremely loose, so I don't think that they were making good connections either way. So let's put power to it again. Let's just see if there's any change in its behaviour. Right, so I'm hooked up to the cables again and the heat sink's back on. So let's throw some power to it. I can reach the plug. And let's see what, if anything, it does differently. That is different. So I've got black with a blue border. Okie dokie. Let's pull the power again. Let's put the diagnostic cartridge back on and just see what it says this time. I'm basically getting exactly the same RAM errors that I was getting beforehand. So there's still at least one dead chip there. So I suppose I'll just start pulling RAM chips. And I'll start with the higher non-contended memory chips. And I'll just, well, keep going until I find a faulty one, I suppose. Although I'm thinking maybe if I just leave it on for a little bit and see if any of those chips start, I mean, they'll all get warm, but if any start really cooking hot, that could be an indication of a fault. So I might just let it run for a bit, and I'll let you know if I notice any sort of temperature difference, and maybe that's a chip I can pull. If not, I'm just going to have to start working my way through them. There may be a better way of diagnosing this, but I don't know what it is. So, like I said, I'm just a hobbyist, so that's what I'm going to do. I've had it running for a while now, and, well, nothing's getting particularly hot, I would say. So, no, nothing's leaping out at me. I'm just going to start pulling some of the higher memory chips and testing them. I'll probably do it off camera. I'll bring you back when I've had a result. And just as a quick side note before I start pulling chips out, I just powered it up again without the diagnostic cartridge in, and we're back to the status quo, so yeah. Hasn't moved it along, although I didn't expect it to. Christ, that took a while, but I've finally found the faulty RAM chip, so I took everything out of this bottom row here where I was convinced there'd be a faulty chip and there wasn't. So then I thought, okay, maybe I've got a faulty logic gate, so I pulled out, there was a NOT gate in there, that was fine, and I started on the upper row, and yeah, that chip there, in fact, that chip right there is faulty. I don't know if there's any more, but I'm not inclined to pull any more chips until I know there's a further fault. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to go through, I'm going to socket all of these. We'll get the RAM chips back in, we'll get a new chip in there. I think I've got some spares kicking about. And we'll see if there's any improvement. So, sockets are in, chips are in. I've got a brand new RAM chip right there. I've plugged it in, I've powered it up, and look at that. I mean, that doesn't mean it's fully working, but that's an improvement. Anyway, it's... Jesus Christ, it's 10:30 and I've got work in the morning, so I'm going to wrap this up for tonight and we'll continue tomorrow. Right, I've spent a little bit of time just reassembling everything back into the case, and I've got the diagnostic card plugged back into the back, so I put power to it and we'll just see what we get on the test card this time. Already it's better. There we go, everything's working. So yeah, we had one dead chip and it was causing all those errors. So it seems fine now. And as a bonus, keyboard seems to work okay. Everything seems fine with it. So there you go, wasn't so bad in the end, it was one RAM chip. So there was an old repair that I had to sort of clean up a little bit. And yeah, the soldering wasn't great, and especially where that logic chip was, I was a little bit concerned that there might have been a little bit of bridging, so there could have been a little bit of an issue. As I've cleaned it up, I don't think that was the case, so I think that repair was essentially good. So I don't want to be too rude about it. I don't even know why that was there. It could have been to fix the issue that we've just seen and the person's given up and then sold the computer on, or it could have been an older repair and this fault that we fixed is a newer issue. I don't know. What I do know is that these sockets, well, they were both loose. Anyway, the chips weren't in there very tightly, so they were no good. And that one had just broken altogether, so it's not going to focus, is it? Yeah, that was definitely an issue. Whether or not it was still making a connection with the chip wedged in there, I don't know. And yeah, one dead RAM chip. That's all it was. Finding it was a bugger, but there you go. So, I think I'm done for this video. I'm not done with the machine yet, because I think what I want to do is give it a bit of a service. So I want to strip it down, degunk it, get some new drive belts for the tape deck, because the tape deck's been repaired in a kind of an interesting way that we'll come to in another video. Possibly a recap, and then it should be good for another 30 years, hopefully. But anyway, as it stands, I'm done with this video, so thanks as always for watching, and hopefully I'll see you on another one.